Hey folks, Brian Baker here. How you doing? Still in lockdown in Melbourne and COVID-19. Here we are. Here we all are, I guess. We're all in the same boat. I want to tell you a bit about the recording and the creation of In Our Backyard. I first wrote it and released it on this little gem in 2006. It's called In Our Backyard, Acoustic 1. And it's got about 5 acoustic tracks on. In fact, there's a few that have been re-recorded on this, but that's Miles, that's my son on the cover, and that is my actual backyard here in the Dandenong Ranges in Melbourne. You're in my studio here, the bakery, welcome. And actually that was the first song that I wrote after going and seeing Pat Patterson for the first time. I got onto Pat Patterson reading his book, Writing Better Lyrics. I really got a lot out of this, and Pat Patterson is a sensational teacher, and over the last 7 or 8 years I've continued to go to Pat's seminars, and he is just an absolutely wonderful songwriting teacher and has instructed and influenced many people, John Mayer among them. But pretty fabulous. So yeah, so In Our Backyard was the first track that I used, some of his songwriting tools, and it really helped me, and I thought it really brought it about. At that stage, the song, I did it capoed up like that, capoed up to the 2nd fret, which makes it an F sharp. And on that recording, on the In Our Backyard one, it's kind of like this. We're building the sky, bit by bit, cloud by cloud, falls from your eyes right into our backyard, which was cool. And yeah, it all worked. Then in 2014 I formed a band called Gradual with some other fabulous players around this area, and In Our Backyard became pretty much of a staple in our live set. Then Gradual recorded that, and it was in the recording of that some things developed. Firstly, that it never got released. The album didn't finish. The band finished up before the album was released. But I took the song, and one of the things that I'd done with it was I had the idea, sitting at the piano, just playing through the chords and fooling with it and letting it filter through my brain as I do, that it would be great with a piano introduction. So I fooled around and put this little thing together. But then as I was doing it, I realised, gee, wouldn't it sound good with a really good piano player doing this? So of course, I called up my old mate Eddie Rayner from Split Enz, and Eddie graciously said he'd be very happy to contribute a piano solo to it. So that's actually, or a piano introduction to it. So that's, we've gone blank, hang on, there we are. And so that's actually how the song starts now. So Eddie is in Auckland in New Zealand, and I just sent him across the ideas that I had, and back comes this beautiful piano introduction. So thank you, Eddie, it's really great, and it really worked for the song. So the track was largely built up after that. I'd moved some of the chords around. We were still in F sharp, and so that in these guitar strings and reverse guitars, where the song starts, we're building the sky, bit by bit, cloud by cloud. This falls from your eyes right into our backyard. Those chords are really quite interesting to me. way they're voiced, a lot of fifths, but they come from a really interesting source. I know lots of Aussie bands have used them. Matt Finish, The Police used them, but before that, this song, which I really like to play. Call out the instigator, 'cause there's something in the air. And there it is there. So that's how the song starts, and that's where those jangly springs come from. Bit by bit, cloud by cloud. So they're a lot of fun. So then after that, the bass and drums. On the bass, I played the lovely Hofner. Here it is. And this is a sensational 1966 Hofner, and just basic. Oops. So that's that. I'll show you. We're making space. And I just for the sake of interest, I doubled it with a little synth bass, which I think just gives it a little bit more evenness and stuff, because it's an old bass, but it helps it out. So yeah, the bass is essentially this Hofner bass, but doubled with a little synth. So that's kind of exciting. And then of course the wonderful Kane Watts did the drums on it, and what a sensational job that he did. I'll see if I can solo these for you. Let's have a look. This should do it. There we go. Pulls from your eyes right into it. And Kane is just a sensational drummer. It just feels great. This was done over at his studio, and he just sends me back the tracks. But just great. Something that you need, something sacred. So then it was just a matter of laying up the guitars and the vocals, drums, bass, that all sits there. And then there was one extra component that happened after the fact too. And that was, I got to the solo, and look, I tried out, I originally had a guitar solo in there. I tried slide, I tried a few different things, but then I realized that with the piano intro, I had to go back to Eddie and say, can you please do me a piano solo as well? And he sent me two, and they're both great. I chose the second one, but essentially that's it. Let me see if I can find you. It's just great. So there you have it. That's lovely. So that was the version of In Our Backyard. That's the main single version. After that, I recorded I like to do a remix. So there's quite an interesting remix out there. I always call them the Chantelot remixes. So that's up there on Spotify, and that's worth a listen to. That's where I get to pull the track apart and try and destroy it and see how I can really screw it up. And I'm sure you'll agree that I did, but it's fun. Then I had the opportunity to go and see Nick Cave and Warren Ellis at Hamer Hall in Melbourne, performing their movie music, and with the members of the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra, and I was really taken by it. I loved the violin and piano approach, the really stripped back approach, and how it worked with the movie, and I thought that I would love to be able to do that with one of my tracks. And I thought that perhaps I could do this in our backyard. But rather than have piano and violin, I would use acoustic guitar and violin and see what happened. I'm very fortunate to have the wonderful Robert John living very close to me. Robert and I first worked together on my 2009 Hard Light record. If you go over to Spotify and have a good listen to that, there's a good serving of Robert's arrangements and playing on that record, which I'm very, very happy with. And so it was great to team up with him again. And I just essentially, with that version, I'll just have a break because I'm going to bring it up on Logic and we'll just see what happens here. So I've got the acoustic and violin version of the track up now on Logic, and essentially I wanted to find a way of playing it. So for about 3 weeks I fooled around with it on guitar, and on this version, instead of playing it in F sharp minor, I took it down to E minor, which was for me easier to play on guitar, but also I think better for Robert, and also because I wanted a really a more chilled, kind of low-key version of it, bringing it down a tone and singing it in that area really worked. So it was just a matter of fooling around on guitar, really. I fooled around for about 3 weeks, coming up with this. If there's something that you need, something sacred, some dark seed, you know where to meet me in our backyard. And the whole wide world, the whole wide world, the whole wide world is here in our backyard. So essentially I recorded one track of acoustic guitar, one vocal, and sent it over to Robert, and he, in his studio, he put together the violin parts, and it came out absolutely gorgeous. I think he just did such a great job. We're building the sky, bit by bit. He is certainly a master violinist and great musician, great thought and approach to this. So that's worked really well. And that essentially is the story so far of In Our Backyard. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you've got any questions, put them in the comments. Please comment, please subscribe, and I'll bring you more stories, more songs, more music. Thanks for watching today. See ya.